Well, hello, Amanda. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Kristen. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me on Keep Them Coming today.
Always my pleasure.
So, Amanda Vee is a fellow sexologist based in California, and we know each other through Sex Coach U. So, I'm so happy to have a fellow alumnus on the show.
Yeah, I am current coaching skills coordinator. I'm part of the faculty at Sex Coach U now. I
Yes.
finished in early 2022 and I immediately joined the faculty, and that was around the time that Sex Coach U did a little reboot. Dr.
Mhm.
Patty Britton stepped back a little
Yeah.
bit from the spotlight.
Retiring, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And
Retiring from a sex coach, you're not retiring from the world of sexology, but yeah,
right.
Sex Coach U is lucky to have you.
Thank you.
I love
Thank
that
you. Thank you.
organization. I've made so many wonderful colleagues, obviously, but friends through SEU. So, yeah.
Likewise, likewise. I part of my favorite, one of my favorite aspects about working at Sex Coach U is just expanding that network. There are so many amazing people that all feel like, they were that one person that their friends would go and talk to about sex growing up, and we are all that one person. So it's really cool to be like in a family and in a group, a network of like, oh, you're just like me. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a camaraderie there with that. Or being the one that was always sneaking around looking for things, or the one that was willing to look at nude paintings and not shy away. Or
Yeah, right,
yeah.
right. Absolutely.
So, we're going to talk about a couple of topics today. It is Sexual Health Month. September is Sexual Health Month, and the theme this year is positive relationships. We're going to talk about romantic spectrums. This
Mhm.
month also we celebrate National Bisexuality Day.
Oh, great.
But yeah, we've got a lot of stuff in store for you today. So, as far as thinking about where to start, Amanda, first, can you just tell us a little bit more about your practice, some like what your niche is,
Sure.
and the kind of clients that you love to work with?
I am the creator of Sex Talks with Amanda and Embodied Sexual Power. Sex Talks with Amanda is where I pretty much do the typical sex coaching thing. I work with solo clients and partnered clients of all genders and sexual orientations. And essentially, I help them find confidence and competence in the bedroom. So I work with sexless partnerships, mixed libido, erectile unpredictability, painful sex, sexual inhibition, dating skills, social deficit,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing. And as well as, fun stuff like going to going to parties and doing like little sex ed mini retreats at bachelorette parties and stuff like
Ooh,
that.
I love that.
I love that. I love showing people how to give oral, for example. It's just one of my favorite things to instruct on.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
As far as embodied sexual power, I come from a professional background of the fitness industry, and I found that a lot of my group fitness participants, after a really great workout, or my personal training clients after a great session, we would walk back to our cars together, and I would do like little mini coaching sessions. And the liminal space between a really fun, difficult, intense workout for about 20 minutes, half hour, is like really profound because there's so many great neurochemicals kind of swimming around in the brain,
Mm-hmm.
making
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you can do anything. And so embodied sexual power is a at-home workout program for women and people who identify as women, where every 5 minutes they are invited to take off an article of clothing.
Hmm.
And they don't have to. Nudity is completely optional. Nobody else can see you. I'm
Mm-hmm.
simply watching each participant for safety and making sure that they're having a great time. And then afterwards, we come back together into a group virtually and talk about the experience of working out. And then we go over sexual topics in a group coaching sort of way. It's an amazing group. It's really changing lives, and people are loving it.
I love that so much. And, you know, again, just harkening back to the theme of positive relationships for Sexual
Yeah.
Health Month, this isn't just about a focus on healthy love relationships. This is also about healthy and positive interpersonal relationships with our community and friendship or people that we are taking classes with
Yeah.
is absolutely a part of that. Like what sort of things do you see in this group setting? Because some people might be saying, oh my gosh, talking about my sexual health or function or dysfunction or dissatisfaction in a group setting might seem kind of intimidating. But other people are leaning in as they listen to this. So what do you sort of see in these group settings with how they are able to learn from one another and sort of build up their sexual health repertoire?
Oh, I love that. Great question. So what's great about, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but what I love about this program is the first half is all about your relationship with you. You're
Mm-hmm.
working out alone in front of a mirror, and it's just your relationship with your own body. So as far as positive relationships, I think that is also a big key component. Your relationship with you and
Mm-hmm.
becoming not necessarily like body positive, but body neutral. Like my body is fine, right? Like my body is exactly what it should be. I am moving, I feel good, and
Yes.
yeah, it's juicy. Um, then moving into the sharing, I was a fitness instructor for over a decade. I lovingly refer to the front row hoe. That was me. She wants to be seen by everybody. She knows all of the songs. She knows all of the moves. She knows everybody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
The pick me girl. Compared to the back row babe, as I like to call her, the woman who doesn't really feel like she belongs there. She's not feeling the confidence of that chick in the front. She questions how she even got in the room. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it when we all talk as a group, the women who have the confidence and the willingness and maybe even just that courage in the moment to share allows the room, me included, to feel, oh, like this is normal. That person has I connect. I feel a similar emotion, or I've had a similar issue, or oh, my sister has that issue. And
Mm-hmm.
hearing this woman talk about it, I now know what to say to my sister when she comes to me with this problem. It it really is a lovely dynamic that allows. Um, I don't know. There's magic, especially
Yeah.
when a group of women come together in a safe space and are allowed to be vulnerable. It is amazing what
Agreed.
comes out of that.
Agreed. I run a sensual self care book club,
Ah,
and we were going through Becoming Clitorate in our first two book clubs.
mm,
We're going to do Smart Sex by Dr. Emily Morse next. But it's a small group, but learning together, and processing things through the book and hearing somebody in the group identify with something that was brought up and then giving somebody this space and confidence to then say, yeah, I've had that happen as well. Also, just a lot of laughter, a lot of just that energy of feeling comfortable to talk about your body, to talk about your wants, your desires, like the fun, kinky, funny feelings and thoughts that you've had it's really powerful and really beautiful. I also got a group of women to scream cunt. It was
I love
so
it.
magical. It was so magical. I loved it so much. Like, oh, there's some power in that too. Um, so you are also somebody who has been on their own sexual exploration journey the last few
Yeah,
years, right?
it's true.
So in in our practice, a lot of what we do is guide people to safety, to community, and to knowledge. So I don't think Sex Coach U was your first, dip into some really out there shit.
It's true.
Right? And also some stuff that just you'd never heard of before. Right? So what was that like for you to go from being in a monogamous relationship, long-term relationship,
Yeah.
to opening that door? What really was your catalyst to facilitating changes in what you were practicing for your own sexual pleasure? What opened the doors for you?
Whew, yeah, open the doors. Great, great little tie-in there, Kristen. I I was in a monogamous relationship for 20 years, and I grew up in a very sex positive household with my mother. My mother and
Wonderful.
I had a very sex positive relationship.
Good.
Um, it was beautiful. She, even though she grew up in a really conservative Christian household, she was just like at the tail end of the hippie movement, and really wanted to be a nudist. When she and my
Mm.
dad were married, we lived on a farm, and I she swears that I didn't wear clothes until I was 3. And neither did she. And
Mm-hmm.
it was I was told and nurtured from a very young age that all bodies are beautiful and all bodies are amazing, and our bodies are capable of
Mm-hmm.
so many delights that our senses are all
Oh,
to
I
be
love that.
used. Yeah, great.
Good. Good.
I love that. I tried to incorporate that into my own children's lives. However,
Mm-hmm.
my ex-husband is a bit more old-fashioned. Um, he grew up Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
um, much more of a repressed household sexually, leaning into misogyny
Mm.
and just sort of the sexual disempowerment of women. And very much, he loved the fact that I was so sex positive for himself and
Mm-hmm.
what that gave him, but was very, I think, threatened by the fact that I was pretty happy to share it with the world. And he was like, no, 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 bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Yeah.
when I divorced him, when we got divorced, I went for a whole year without sex. And by the way, we had a great sex life. We had an
Mm-hmm.
active, fulfilling, orgasmic sex life.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was probably some intimacy that I was not feeling because I didn't feel safe, and I can only
Mm-hmm.
say that kind of looking back on it
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so many years later. Um,
Gotcha.
but when I divorced him, and I didn't date anybody for a whole year, I wanted to just mourn the loss of my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I moved across the country, and I started dating. I was like, okay. When I first started dating my ex-husband, dating apps weren't a thing, and now they are.
Right.
And what is this all about? And oh my gosh, women have
Whole new world.
whole new world. And I was still feeling like monogamy was what I was most comfortable with,
Mm-hmm.
but
But.
I liked the idea of dating multiple people, like dating, like what.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Not being exclusive,
Right,
just
not being
dating
exclusive.
around.
I
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
wanted to date people. I wanted to date people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I found that some of the dating apps were not really into that. The
Yeah.
guys I was meeting were like, "Well, I'm only dating you and I expect you to only date me." And I'm like, "Well, I'm talking to 4 other guys. I shouldn't like and they're all
Mm-hmm.
like pretty good candidates. Why would I not talk to them anymore just to give you a shot?"
We know why they want you to just talk to them. We know why they do that.
I do know, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I also really like sex, and
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to. have as much of it as I could.
Hell
So,
yeah.
eventually, one of the guys that I was dating for about a year was like, yeah, he was emotionally unavailable, and I was like, well, I think I'm going to start dating other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had heard about Field, the
Mm-hmm.
dating app for non-monogamous people, and I made
Yeah.
my a profile, and my life really changed at that point. I found that I enjoyed dating couples and dating women, and I found that I preferred women in couples a little bit more, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where I enjoyed playing. I was a great unicorn for a number of months and
Mm-hmm.
lived a fantastic slut era. And
Hell yes.
yes, yes, and I had a really great friend with benefits who was he is a gay man romantically but pansexually, and he was a really fun partner until I met my current partner, um, who I really wanted a fluid bond with,
Mm-hmm.
and we're polyamorous. He is married. I'm friends with his wife. Like it's just like an ideal life. I am so happy now. Is that the answer to your question? I feel like I
Yeah,
rambled
yeah.
and kind of gave you a whole lot there, but
I mean, like your year of celibacy, was that sort of what gave you the clarity to go, I've done things this way, but I'm open to trying some new things. And 'cause I think that's what scares people is they think that once they've opened the door to something new that they have to, like that's just who they are now. For instance, going from dating exclusively opposite sex partners, or being in a heterosexual relationship, to now you're dating girls, the rush to go, oh well, I'm a lesbian, am I bisexual, am I pansexual, and like labels and all that. But then also thinking, oh well, once I've entered polyamory, that's just who I am. And I mean, like,
oh,
we could just flat
it,
out say like that's not the real thing, but like let's explore that a little.
yeah. So I identify as heteroflexible,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not that I'm not afraid to take the plunge to identify fully as bisexual. I just don't think that that applies to me because I don't
Mm-hmm.
really feel like it's fair to say that I'm attracted to women as much as I'm attracted to men. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like Life Isn't Binary, and I just read a great book called
Yeah.
Life Isn't Binary. I forget who the authors are off the top of my head, but amazing book. And they talk about how, how does somebody identify when they are completely heterosexual except for one encounter
Mm-hmm.
where they were really, really not
Right.
heterosexual.
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and honestly, don't I? It's not that they're repressing their emotions or repressing their sexuality in any way. It just never happened any other time. Is
Mm-hmm.
that person bisexual? Who has the right to tell that person what they are? Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's the idea that you may not be bisexual enough or you may not be poly enough can
Right.
really keep people from exploring, because what if I do it wrong? And
Yes.
I want to
Yes.
give people permission to just try.
I love that. That's a beautiful explanation. And that's something that I try to walk people down this path of understanding too, that it's not black and white. This is a spectrum. And that the reason that these labels like heteroflexible or God, I'm trying to think. I might have to do some editing here. Queer, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I think that's why people have embraced that, right? Because it's very ambiguous. Um, I, oh my God, Amanda, I heard the funniest term recently about kind of like bisexual, pansexual. I'm spaghetti. I'm straight until I'm wet. I had not heard that before, so that was good. I said it to my husband, and he was like, he died. He died. He liked that one. And I think that's at times how maybe I am, that like I'm not actively seeking something, but when I have met girls or women that I'm attracted to, I'm like, oh, hi, hello, you're so pretty, you smell so good. I don't know how to flirt with you, so I'll just compliment your clothes and your shoes and then keep staring deeply into your eyes.
And and
Anyway.
and and, and I'm just gonna be like, wow, this chick is so cool. Oh, it's so great to like kiss her and touch her. And does that mean I'm, like, and what does that mean? I had this conversation with my mom, bless her. Again, grew up in a really, really oppressive Christian household. And I love my family. I love my extended family, but their beliefs are pretty strict. Um, and my mom's like, no, I think I've, because I was explaining to her like the difference between like the sexuality spectrum and the romantic spectrum. And my mom was like, I absolutely loved, like I loved with all of my heart, my young adult roommate, the roommate she had when she was going through nursing school out of high school and college. She was like, I loved her. Like I loved her deeply. And I'm like, yeah, that counts. Like that's what that means. And when she was like, does
Yeah.
that mean I'm a lesbian? And I'm like, well, what do you know about lesbians? Like how much lesbian sex have you watched? And she was like, well, just what's in porn. And I'm like, okay, well, when you think about heterosexual porn, do you think that looks like your sex life? And she was like, well, no. And I'm like, well, then why would you think that your lesbian sex life would look like heterosexual porn? And she was like, like it just blew my mom's mind that I kind of opened up her sexuality just from just the conversation of like, it doesn't have to look the way you think it has to look.
I was just discussing removing expectations or recognizing when we are putting our context onto something, and
Mm.
that even just that simple act of recognizing like, wait, I think it has to be this way because that's all I've ever seen or all I've ever known. Just that like moment of like, dang, I didn't think about that. It doesn't have to look this way. It doesn't have to be about A, B, and C, or the thing I've always done, or the thing I've always seen in porn.
And going back to positive relationships, I love the idea of blowing the relationship escalator out of the water when it comes to
Yes.
poly relationships.
Yes. Yeah. So for those listening, the relationship escalator is this idea that once you kind of what I hinted at earlier, that once you've started something, you have to keep going, right?
Hmm.
Some people think that as you get into kink, you have to get kinkier and kinkier and kinkier. But this is as you get into a relationship that, oh, we've gone on a date. And so now I need to delete my profile and be exclusive. And now we're going to have sleepovers. And now it's my, boyfriend, girlfriend, and or girlfriend, girlfriend, or boyfriend, boyfriend, or they, whoever. But just the idea that you have to keep on going and stepping up as far as
Otherwise,
a
the
form of
relationship,
expectation,
yeah, otherwise it's a failure
right?
or it's not successful
It's
in
not
some way.
real.
It's not real,
Or not real, not valid, not valuable.
can't be fulfilling. Like it's not actually fulfilling you if you're not going to get married one day.
Right. And
Well,
that's
I'm
oof.
I'm I'm in my mid 40s. I'm in my mid 40s.
Same.
Yay. Yay. And I don't know, like the last time I was with a partner for over a year, we were on a very traditional relationship escalator of like, okay, well now we're gonna buy, move in together and then buy a house and then have a dog and then have kids and blah blah. Like, and now I'm like, well, I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't. I kind of like sleeping alone. Like, I like it. It's nice, and
Yeah.
I love my partner. I love my boyfriend, but mm, like,
And yet,
sleeping alone is really nice a
right?
couple of nights a week.
And yet you're seeing that whether these are messages from society,
Yeah.
these are things that you've done yourself in the past, you're recognizing that you can write your own rules.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It's
You
so
can do whatever the
liberating.
fuck you want.
And I'm making my choices.
Mm-hmm.
My choices might affect the people around me, my children, for example, my
Mm-hmm.
partner, my coworkers, and I do want to be accountable to them to a degree, but I now have boundaries. I'm like, okay, well, my accountability goes up to my boundary, and then that's where we're gonna call it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be considerate, and also life is short, and I get to make my own choices, and I cannot choose how other people perceive me. Like, it's such a liberating thought to think, like, my choices are my own. I am the only one who has to answer to me at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how much I fight to make people think of me in a very particular way, I can't. I can't control the way people think of me. Um,
Yeah.
it's such a liberating thing to kind of
It
let go of
is.
that.
Yep. I heard it put one time, other people's opinions of you are none of your business.
Mm, mm-hmm. 100%.
Yeah, I feel that twinge too sometimes of like wanting people to have a specific perception of me. And whenever that thought creeps in, I do have to have sort of that mantra moment of it's just none of your business. It doesn't matter. You can't control what they think of you. All you can do is be yourself.
Yeah.
And whatever whatever opinion they develop off of that, that's on them. I'm just going to be me.
And I could, I could create, I could curate a very precise image
Mm-hmm.
to convey to somebody, and then accidentally do one little thing that will change someone's perception of me 180 degrees, and that's it. Like that, and that's their perception is now whatever that is. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot be responsible for all of that.
It's too
That's too much.
exhausting.
Too
It's
exhausting.
way too exhausting. I don't know. That can maybe get into attachment styles or things like that, and like maybe that's a bit of the anxiousness and wanting, the old versions of us wanting other people to hear us or understand us before they make their choices or make or draw conclusions about us. But
Yeah,
standing more in our healed versions, right? In our more self-aware versions, we
yeah.
can release that anxiety and say that's just out of my control. Now, okay, I do want to backtrack onto something because I had a
Let's go
thought
back. Yeah,
earlier. So like
positive relationships. Positive
yes, positive
relationships.
relationships. But also it's like you talked about dating couples.
I did.
Well, I guess the first question is like, what's it like? My husband and I are also ethically non-monogamous, but we've had very few interactions with other people since we've been together. We just define ourselves as such because we understand that the day is going to come where we want to fuck other people. That's likely going to be together. Maybe it's going to be apart, but we just understand we are not a monogamous couple long term. While currently, I guess in practice being monogamous. But like we certainly don't want to unicorn hunt. That's what it's called when it's a couple just going out and seeking a partner. There's some people maybe that like to be hunted. That's a thing too. But like, what do you think have been some of the positives? What have been some of the drawbacks of seeking to date a couple or being sought after by couples as a single who's in the ethically non-monogamous community?
Ooh, yeah. What a great question. And now I'm now on the other side
Mm-hmm.
as a couple seeking out uh,
Mm-hmm.
other partners. So I think initially initially, being a unicorn, finding couples that I was attracted to. It was, to me, an easier gateway, if you will, to being with women when there were men involved.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit less pressure on exploring the same gender, same genitalia, same, like it was just less pressure for me when there was a group, when it was a multi-person experience. So I really just kind of stepped into it, and that was like, okay, I'm gonna try this experience with women now and see what that's like. Never really looking for the romantic connection to women. It was truly a physical, like, I've always been really curious about that. Will I like it? Turns out I do. Like, turns out it's actually as much fun as I thought it was going to be, and I really got a kick out of it. So it was exciting. I'm very forgiving of myself, and I think that's part of my personality quirk that kind of made this really easy for me. But like, I went into every date, regardless of the gender or relationship construct, and with low expectations but high hopes. So low expectations. It might work out, it might not work out. What does working out even mean? I get to experience meeting people, hanging out with them, making out, flirting, touching. It just felt like training wheels of my queerness to explore that, and I let myself have that opportunity. I'm trying to think of like whether at any point was I like, I really want to date one of them and not the other. And yeah, that definitely happened. It's adding on extra people to relationships or our
Yeah.
work, like just
Yeah.
trying to like get people's schedules is probably the hardest part. We're like all
The
three
Google
people.
Calendar challenges.
Think about getting two of your friends together and how difficult it is for three people to come together for
Yeah.
an evening. And it may or may not be easier because two of the people live together, but that doesn't always make it easier, because they've got kids or work responsibilities. It's just,
Yeah.
it's life. Life be lifing. Now that I'm on the other side, and when I met my current partner, again, he is married. So that was like its own whole thing. I knew it. It didn't bother me. I mean, no, it's not that it doesn't bother you. It's there, and they're. I don't want to say it's a constant, but it is a frequent self-management, self-soothing, like checking myself, or like, what are these thoughts? If I'm having like a, ooh, do I measure up? Oh my gosh, what if he doesn't actually, what if this is like he's using me? Like,
Yeah.
ultimately,
Yeah.
you listen to your gut. It's a
Yeah.
relationship like any other. Is this person's actions lining up with their words?
Yeah.
Is there respect? Do I believe it? If it, it's every relationship is a leap of faith with vulnerability. So
Yeah.
there was that. I think coming from a divorced family, it does make it a little easier. You understand that, like, you have a partner or a parent for a short period of time, and then you go to your other parent's house. It doesn't stop your
You
love
don't get
for
to see them
either.
every
You don't
day.
get to see them every day, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, this, they have another family. Like, if you have siblings, like, you don't think that, well, maybe you do, I don't know, that your parents like absolutely love your one sibling more than you. It just works. I don't that part
Mm-hmm.
never really clashed with my internal,
Mm-hmm.
story.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
however,
Mm-hmm.
however, I didn't actually have to like see it. And so
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
we decided to date people together, it was like, well, how are we going to do this? And I'll be honest, Kristen, here's the tea.
Okay.
Um, before we actually started dating people together, we decided to go to some sex parties together,
Mm-hmm.
or dungeons,
Mm-hmm.
and actually dungeon first, and
Mm-hmm.
then some sex parties. And it was like,
Nice.
can we be near other people? Can we touch other people? Like how? So again, it was very like training wheels. Try it out,
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. Try
Yeah.
it out, talk about it. Try out a little bit more, talk about it. And that turned out to be like just a great way to experience it. Now, again, I live near Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
You've got some more
pretty
opportunities
I've got a
there
lot of
than some other
opportunities.
folks in other
Yeah,
communities,
right.
but
Right.
y'all can travel if you want. There, but Kansas City actually has one of the largest dungeons in the country.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Kansas City, here we come.
Yeah.
Um we so yeah, that when we kind of started going to sex parties, and it was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, like kissing other people, just and again,
Mm-hmm.
sort of like strangers. Like this is, I don't want to say that it's just sex, but it was just sex. Like you're going to
Right.
a sex party, you're not going looking for another partner
Right.
per
Yeah.
se. But it kind of it tested our compersion. It tested
Yeah.
like, ooh, is this something that I like? Is this something that I absolutely don't like? And we went into those experiences very vulnerably, like this
Mm-hmm.
may not work, and
Mm-hmm.
there is a possibility that this could be really bad. Um, but then we'll know. And then it might be that this one is really bad, but it didn't feel like all of it is bad, just this one. Like
Mm-hmm.
just because you don't like a Granny Smith apple doesn't mean that you don't like all apples. So
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
we kind of kept an open mind, and
Uh-huh.
we established. I gotta fix my ear. Hopefully, it doesn't hang up on you. Um, we established pretty early on our ability to communicate and our trust in each other, and I think that having that prior to like can I trust that this person is going to be honest with me? Can I
Mm-hmm.
trust that this person is going to communicate in a way that doesn't trigger me, or that can I hear this person and self-soothe, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
more personal
Mm-hmm.
accountability, I suppose.
Yeah.
um it it works for us. And now, as we are actively dating other people and couples, it's like it's hard because
Yeah.
again, more people equals more problems, but it's
Yeah.
also more joy. And
Yeah.
it is
And more opportunities.
more opportunities. Yeah, we agree. We were kind of like, I had this lovely slut era, and my boyfriend, my partner right now, um, made his sexual debut with his wife. So
Mm-hmm.
he really hasn't had a whole lot of opportunities. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was really important to me when we met to be like, are you going to be upset? Like, are you going to be really triggered by the fact that I've had all of this fun experiences? And he was like,
Valid. Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous, but not like jealous of your past partners. I just wish I could have that. And I was like, well, like,
That's exactly what my husband said.
right? Like I
He's
wish I
like,
could
I'm
have
not
that too.
mad. I just like, why can't I have had that?
Right? And I'm like, okay, well, like let's do it
Let's do
together.
it. Yeah. Yes.
And also it's very different
Mm-hmm.
for cis women than it is for cis men.
Yeah. Yes. 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 Yes.
Like,
Yes.
my privilege as a cis woman of just having lots of interest is quite
Mm-hmm.
different than that of a cis man. And I think that, like, I recognize that with my clientele, right? Like that's something
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of like, we opened up our partnership because thinking of a particular couple, we opened up our marriage because this is the husband speaking, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I kind of wanted more, and she was open to it, and
Mm-hmm.
then she got all of the play, and he's hearing crickets.
I mean, Amanda, let's just be real with the listeners. As sexologists, we know that that's what usually happens. It I don't mean to laugh at it, but it's sort of like there are couples that open up their relationship and then that happens. The man's like, well, shucks, what's happening. You're like, sorry, bro, it's a little harder on your side than it is on her because since she's into dudes, she can catch a dick because it's a day that ends in Y.
Right.
Um, and it's a little harder on your side. Sorry, man. But I do have those times where I see the people online, not clients. I'm not laughing at clients, but there are people on who are online complaining about these things on Reddit or in different forums, and it's like, I was attracted to this other person. I got my wife to open up our marriage, but that other person wasn't into that. They didn't want to get involved. And now I'm looking. My wife was on board with opening up the marriage, and now her schedule's full of dates. And she doesn't have time for me. And I can't catch a date to save my life. And every time I see it, I'm like, yep, yep, yep.
My snarky
Just
answer to that,
desserts.
my snarky answer to that is, go on Grinder. You will get dick so quick, sir.
Yeah, you want to get
Like,
laid. You can get laid.
you want to get laid?
But yeah, your little girl at in the office that's 20 years younger than you that you thought would hop on board because you suddenly opened up your marriage didn't, and now you're upset because your wife is fucking whoever she wants. Sorry, I don't feel sorry for you.
But
That's
back to
my
positive
snarky. That's my snarky
relationships.
response. Good for her. All I'm thinking is like, good for the wife. Good for her. She's probably getting her back blown out in ways she hasn't in years. But circling back one more time,
Yeah.
you as you're dating, the
Yeah.
question that I get from a lot of people who are seeking within ethical non-monogamy or consensual non-monogamy is, do they try to go out in person? Do they do the dating apps? And Field, as you mentioned, is one that I have recommended.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Cupid is also one that I have recommended. Are there any other ways to meet people that you personally have found work well or have worked well for other folks?
Um, Meetup as an
Mm-hmm.
app.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that kind of depends on where you live, and I
Yeah.
recognize
Mm-hmm.
the privilege that I have of living near such a vibrant, um,
Sex positive.
sex positive area, right? And honestly,
Yeah.
just a major metropolitan area. There's going to
Yeah.
I recognize that had I been trying to live this lifestyle, in on the East Coast before I moved, it wouldn't have been quite as easy. I would have
Mm-hmm.
had to have driven at least an hour to the nearest metropolitan area, probably,
Mm-hmm.
to really open up. No pun intended. To find more options.
Yeah.
Um, I've heard that dating apps in some smaller towns, or like even like Facebook dating, your pool is what your pool is, and
Yeah.
that's something that I kind of need to hold space for, that depending on
Mm-hmm.
where you live, your community just may not be what you're hearing or what you're
Yeah.
seeing on social media, because I can almost guarantee you that a lot of those, like, bigger, lifestyle or poly communities may not exist in smaller towns.
Mm-hmm.
There's different things to consider about that, and safety is one of them.
Yeah.
It's not understood. It's not well understood. Even here, like I am out. My metamor is out as
Mm-hmm.
poly. Um, Metamor, for those of you who don't know, is my partner's partner,
Mm-hmm.
and my partner is not out. He has not kind of come out because his job
Mm-hmm.
is working with very affluent people here in Southern California,
Mm-hmm.
and should it get out, he could lose work. Like
Mm-hmm.
he is a tradesman and owns his own business.
Mm-hmm.
And if the very niche community that he works for decides that he is no longer safe. Now I didn't understand this. I was like, what do you mean safe? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, if people find out I'm poly, then they may not want me working in their house while their wives are home
Yeah. Yeah.
because they think
They
that
they would make
I'm
assumptions.
they would make assumptions about
Yeah.
like the fact that I'm just because I'm married doesn't mean that I'm, like respectful
Right.
for the institution of
Just like
marriage.
how
And I'm
they
like,
assume that if you're gay that you have proclivities that you likely don't.
or like just because you're gay, you're going to hit on like every man.
Yeah. Yep.
like
Yeah,
no,
it's just like heterosexual attraction. We don't want to fuck everybody that we see. I mean, maybe there's a handful of people out there who are very hypersexual that do. I'm not one of them.
right.
But yeah, it's the same. Like every gay dude doesn't want to fuck every single man. Every lesbian doesn't want to fuck every single woman. Yeah.
Right.
But
So
yes,
he's
people
he's
when they don't
afraid.
understand something, they operate based in fear.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so
So now he's developed fear because of their fear.
precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. So
So
I hold space for the fact that if you are in a poly relationship, or you and your partner are considering ethical non-monogamy, and you don't want to do it in your locale because of the rumor mill, I
mhm.
hold space for that. You
Mhm.
know where your boundaries are, and you know your town better
Yeah.
than I do. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
want to assume that it's safe to be yourself everywhere. I
Yeah.
wish it were.
Our city definitely serves as a little haven for a lot of small town people that
Yeah.
come in on the weekend and go to the club and go to the gay bars, things like that. So, yeah, we're a little blue dot in a sea of red. But
Um,
we're hanging on here. We're hanging on.
but if you live in that sea, find your blue dots.
Yeah.
Find where it is safe for you, because
Yeah.
those locations do exist, and your people are out there.
Yeah. And that's the thing. If you're looking on Field or you're looking on OkCupid and you've got to go to a larger market, if you're in a teeny tiny town, even going to a college sized town,
Mm,
if you're kind of that mid market, going to a size that's like Kansas City, Denver, some of that mid sized market. But, if you've got the opportunity to travel, it's clearly a privilege to be able to, to travel to go meet folks. But maybe also you just need to build up that relationship online
online.
and have something that you can enjoy and get pleasure from, but you don't have to meet each other in person right away.
Right. I, speaking of, my metamor prefers long distance. She she's sort of like, nope, I don't have time for people like actually coming into my life. She's like, I like a distance. I like being
Mm-hmm.
able to make it an experience, make it fun,
Nice.
make it a little vacation, and then come home and then it be like, okay, that's how
I
she
like
likes it.
that.
She likes a separation.
And the
Nope.
beauty of this is
Yeah.
there's rules, but you write them yourself.
Right.
You decide how you want this to work. There's so much variety. There's so much that you can do, and that the freedom is, I think, the most beautiful part about it. When people come to me as a client, they're like, "How do I do this?" And I'm like, "Well, this is more like writing a story, not we're not writing a sentence, right? We're not just writing something short. This is going to be intricate. This is going to be detailed. This is going to be nuanced, and we likely can't figure all this out in a day or one conversation. It takes ongoing conversations, it takes adjustments, it takes realizing, wow, we didn't consider this before, but now that we're facing it, we've got to talk about it. So
100%.
yeah, it takes a lot of vulnerability to face that stuff, especially in the moment when all of a sudden, like, it's here. You can't deny that something has come up. You gotta face it head on. That takes a lot of bravery.
I completely agree.
So that takes us to our last segment here, Amanda. It's Ask Coach Kristen Anything time. So, as a fellow sexologist, your question might look different than some of my other guests. But what do you have for me today?
Um, it's I don't know if you absolutely have the right and privilege and set up your boundaries. Um, but what is what is the kinkiest sex toy you think you like in your mind? Kinkiest in your mind. Kinkiest sex toy that you own. If you feel like you need
I
to
have a
modify
lot of
your answer,
stuff. I have a lot of stuff.
I believe you.
I would catch felonies in Texas if I lived there. Um,
I get that.
I would have to say it's probably my violet wand.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, for those
What is
listening,
what is your favorite what is your favorite accessory on your violet wand? Because it's more than just a thing. I mean, it is a thing, but it comes with accessories.
it comes with accessories. So some obviously are a little like they're gentle, right? Like the one that's over like a comb. It's great. You can use it on your scalp. It's great. It's great raking over the body. There's another one I've used on my face. There's like a roller that's pretty gentle. But as far as using it on somebody and getting the most like, because I like to give, not receive with the violet wand. I'm a top with that. Um, is the branding. The branding one. It gives the most like violent zap. It's loud and it's crackly and it's making my nipples hard just talking about it.
So it's a cattle
Ah!
prod, essentially, is what you're telling me.
Okay, Amanda, I've got it right here next to me, but because it's here in my office, so I'll just show it for the YouTube folks get to see it. Um, it has a metal tip on the end here. So as opposed to the other pieces, which are like typically just the glass, this has like a nice little buzz. This little flat glass piece one. This one is just so zappy and it hurts and it makes them jump. And because I know it hurt them, it makes me happy because I'm a sadist. So yeah, I think that my violet wand is the kinkiest thing that I have. I'm totally open on the show talking about stuff, but I know that there's definitely some listeners that are learning some new things about me that I get a kick out of, especially a male partner, making him feel some pain, and especially if I'm using this on his testicles.
Ooh.
Even better when it's cock and ball torture.
Ooh, I love that. As a
Yeah.
switch, I can get behind that. I love to bottom with a
Uh-huh.
violet wand where the top kind of uses it to make their fingers, make their hands electrified, and then to be
Yes.
tickled. I like to be
Yes.
like just tickled, tickle torture. with electricity.
That, yes, there's an attachment that you put on. You can either put this attachment onto, like, me as the top, I put it onto my person, and
Yeah.
then when I touch them, I'm doing the current through me. There's
Yeah.
also to where you can put that same attachment under or on the body of the bottom, and then when I touch them, wherever, I've touched them, it's going through their body. It's a different sensation,
Yeah.
going one way or the other. Yeah, I do enjoy that sensation of it rushing through my body and going on to them too.
Bravo. Yeah, I love it.
I don't know what
Great
it is
answer.
about the sound, the crackle. It's just there's something amazing about it.
I love that for you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That was a great question. Thank you so much. So, Amanda, thank you. This has been a wonderful conversation today. And of course, I want to give the listeners a chance to find you, especially if they would like to do that embodied
Sexual power.
workout, sexual power
Yeah.
workout. So, tell the listeners how they can find you.
Absolutely. So Sex Talks with Amanda is coaching. So if you're not really, if you don't identify as a woman, Sex Talks with Amanda is where you're going to find me. And that's also on Instagram. I primarily stay on Instagram right
Mm-hmm.
now. I'm building up some YouTube videos to release, but Instagram is where you're going to find a lot more about me, more videos, more content. And then embodiedsexualpower.com is how you're going to find the Embodied Sexual Power workout program and a lot more details about that. If you are interested in doing embodied sexual power, the first week is free. All you need is a full-length mirror and the space in front of it, no more than like a yoga mat. So anything that you can do on a yoga mat is enough space to do the workout at home.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the nudity part is completely optional. It simply is a way to build that better relationship with yourself. And so some people are like, you mean I don't need to wear a bra and I can work out? That's amazing. And
Yeah.
other people are like, I cannot work out without, supportive undergarments, and that's amazing too. I'm not, there is no judgment. It's simply you have that permission.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And you can find Embodied Sexual Power. It's because meta. It's Embodied SXUAL Power
Mm-hmm.
3, which really they really messed me up with that name. But you
Yeah.
can find Embodied Sexual Powers Instagram through Sex Talks with Amanda Instagram. That's really, they're connected. It's easy.
Very good. Very good. Well, I wish you all the best, all the
Thank
success
you.
in the world. Stay in touch.
Yes,
And
let's hang out next time you're in LA or I'm in Kansas City. We can just find a way to get together.
yes, please. Absolutely.
Awesome.
All
So
right.
great talking with you.
You too. Enjoy your day.